Stay tuned to Cardinal Television. Commotion's coming up next. Hello and welcome to Commotion, CTV's pop culture debate show. I'm your host for the week, James Bailey, here to stir up the debate. For you newbies at home, here's how Commotion works. Our three panelists will be given 6 topics to rant, rave, and debate over. At the conclusion of the show, a winner will be chosen by yours truly and given 30 seconds of FaceTime. And a new world for this week, guys, no Gangnam Style. We thought that went without saying, but apparently not. Anyways, let's introduce you to our wonderful panelists. First up, freshman phenom and anchor of Fisher News, we got Justin Gould. Next up is the sophomore sensation out of Penn Yan, New York, ladies and gentlemen, Ben Covert. And our final panelist is John, don't call me Bon Jovi, John. Excuse me. All right, are we ready? Let the commotion begin.
All right.
Last week, YouTube released a new program called YouTube Heroes. This program rewards you points for interacting with the video, which can be later used for early access to new Google products. You can be awarded points by adding subtitles to a video, answering questions in a YouTube chat room, and flagging inappropriate videos. Some see this as a great way to improve viewer engagement and keep harmful content off the website. However, content creators see this as a threat of censorship, saying that people can mass flag videos they personally find offensive. Is YouTube Heroes a positive addition, or is it a means of free labor and censorship? We'll start all the way to the left here at Justin.
Well, I would think that if YouTube was going to implement this program, they would have moderators to it, right? So when people, flag a video, it's not going to automatically get taken down. I assume if there was a ton of flagging, they would take a look at it and then decide. So I think it's a good program, and I don't think they're using anyone because YouTube is a private company and this is their website and they can do whatever they want with it. And I think that's what a lot of people forget about is like YouTube, and it's owned by Google. I think that it's good and that they can do what they want.
Ben, your thoughts?
I agree with you, Justin. I think it's their website, but ultimately it's about censorship, and I think that it's called YouTube, so it's about us. So I think we should be able to say what we want when we want, and I think that that means that especially because of this whole flagging thing, they're taking down videos that people spent a lot of hard time working on that weren't being taken down before. I think it's just a really...
As long as it doesn't violate their policies. I mean, you don't want like explicits.
Sure, but how are you going to get rid of all of it?
You can't, but this is going to help. I mean, it's better than the robot doing it.
We'll let John get his thoughts.
Yeah, well, I've actually been a YouTube content creator for a little while, and I've been very careful on what I put up, and part of the reason is that there is really no law to who can flag you. You can be flagged for violating copyright when by law maybe you were doing satire or parody or even critique. I know the Nostalgia Critic has been, a lot of his videos have been taken down, although he is protected by law. But that was before this. That was when it was just the bots, and it would continue to happen. I don't see anything really wrong with this. I just think that if a couple of content creators, big ones, Nostalgia Critic, that left YouTube because of this, maybe went to their own sites or went to Dailymotion, then maybe as YouTube, I think you need to cut this out and maybe reform your policies.
So do you think that overall, obviously you guys think that this obviously has a chance to be bad, but do you think that there is a positive in this, and that there are people now looking at this, and that YouTube maybe should be a little slower to take videos down, but at least having the opportunity to have people go on there and flag and do all this sort of stuff. You think the whole program overall, it's kind of set up so that you can get better prospects from Google and stuff like that. So do you think overall like the concept of the program is a good idea?
Yeah, I think so. And I watched a video on it on YouTube's site, and like they said, people are supposed to also interact more in the comments. Mm-hmm. So I think that'd be healthy for their online community. I think that overall it's good, and why not try it?
You're right. There's a lot of garbage that's put on YouTube nowadays. Yeah. If you look through and you see, there's a lot of terrible stuff. So yes, this does have. This could be a good way of kind of limiting all that bad stuff on YouTube, but to me, it's it's censorship, and I think YouTube is all about you. It's about us. So I think we should be able to say what we want.
I mean, I honestly, I don't see, other than just what they were already doing, not much bad. I mean, and my thought is that, I mean, it provides a service to people who want to interact. It gives them early access. I'd sort of be I wouldn't like to call it free labor because they are getting something for their service. So I like that portion at least.
Yeah, and there are good things coming out of it as far as like providing subtitles and stuff like that. So it's not all just flagging videos, right?
No.
Yeah.
All right, thank you guys. We're gonna move on. Wayne Pacell works as the president of the Humane Society of the United States. His job is very demanding, and to help cope with the stress, he brings Lily, a Beagle mix puppy, to work with him. He truly believes his mood is improved when he has his animals around him. Researchers say when humans and animals interact, there is an increase in oxytocin, which is a hormone that stimulates trust and relaxation. This reaction is experienced by both the human and the animal. If pets are so harmful to a person's well-being, should pets be allowed in more businesses and offices? We'll start off with that. Ben, give your first thoughts on that.
Well, this seems to be a debate about cats or dogs. So I'm going to go right ahead and say dogs make me feel better. I'm a dog person. If I'm around a dog, obviously you have your bad dogs, but dogs, they're happy to see you every time. They love their man's best friend. They're just fun to be around. They love to play with you. They love to see you. You love to see them, and you look forward to seeing a dog.
Before we get into the debate between cats and dogs, John, do you think that this overall is just pets in general, bringing them in the workplace? Do you think it's a good thing?
See, I sort of come from both sides of the argument on this. And on the one hand, I am allergic to cats. And if you have an allergen in the workplace, either even as a coworker or a client, that is very bad for your workplace. But on the other hand, I'm also legally blind, and I'm very familiar with the Americans with Disabilities Act and with service dogs, which are protected by law. You need to allow seeing eye dogs into your business, even if you do have someone who is allergic. So, I'm very much of the belief that an ailment of the mind is just as legitimate as an ailment of the eyes. So, maybe we could consider having some type of service dogs that could be brought in for mental health. And I mean, we can have people who are allergic, like people are allergic to peanuts, but we can have like peanut-free zones. So we could probably put something like that in a workplace.
All right, Justin, your thought on the whole idea of pets?
John, I agree with you, with the fact that we have to be careful with going in this direction. I think that the workplace might consider having a dog and or a cat or whatever animal they wanted, or both, in like a zone. And like from my own experience, my grandmother worked at a nursing home, and she would bring her dog Daisy into work with her every day. And Daisy would primarily stay like in the office space, and Daisy was a friendly dog, and they'd walk around and she'd talk to some of the residents and things like that. Not talk to them, obviously, but she'd socialize with some of the residents. So I would say yes, try something, and definitely like on college campuses, I know they have dogs, and you can
finals week.
Yes,
you'll witness it firsthand. Yeah.
Yeah, and
you'll bring in dogs for finals week. It's awesome.
And that's perfect. And I come from a household of having dogs and cats, and I just like love animals, and like I think that it will help people, and especially if you're having a bad day. Most dogs are just there to cheer you on.
All right, so Ben kind of jumped the gun a little bit on the dog and cat debate, so we know where he stands on it. But so why don't we just go down the line? What between the dog and cat debate, where do you guys stand?
All right, I'd have to say dogs, because dogs, no matter what, are generally always happy to see you when you come in. I know my dog will wait by the door until you come home, and my cat could kind of just be like, "Oh, great, you're home. Give me milk." So, dogs.
I pegged you as a cat person, so it's interesting.
Oh,
but,
really?
Oh, yeah. But, dogs are, you obviously know, that I already said, but dogs are my kind of animal. They're fun. And I like, big dogs. The fun dogs you can pet, you can play with. I think it's also good to have a pet in the house, especially a dog in the house, as you're growing up, because that shows that children who grow up with a dog, can better handle animals, and they understand that responsibility a little bit more. And I think it's just a great thing to have around the house, a dog.
It might be seeming like we're going to have a unanimous with dogs since I mentioned I was allergic to cats, but you'd be surprised, actually. I really enjoy cats. They're softer, at least the cats I've experienced, a lot softer than dogs because they can clean their cells with their little sandpaper tongues. And it's also they're low maintenance to me. Like, you don't have to take a cat out. It can just do its own thing, which if you have one in the workplace, then, you don't have to have the intern go take them out every half an hour.
All right, and for the record, I'm a dog guy too. I got 2 black labs waiting at home for me.
Yeah.
Can't wait to go back home Thanksgiving to see them. Alrighty, we're slowly stirring the pot, starting to get a little bit of a boil. We'll see if we can keep it going after this quick break.
Hey.
Ready to go?
Yeah, but the fire's not out.
Close enough.
Close enough? If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave. I mean, the next thing you know, you've torched our whole neighborhood.
Which is why we're not going anywhere?
Exactly. 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back. Time for the presidential section of the program. So presidential debates are officially in full swing, and naturally these big events will be parried across entertainment and media. Whether it's late-night talk shows, Saturday Night Live, there's countless celebrities who impersonate political figures. But the first question I have for you guys is, which celebrity impression is the best? We'll start with John this time.
Well, there's been a long history. You got to talk about Will Ferrell doing W. He had a certain strategery when I was doing it. And, sometimes they would bring on Dana Carvey. Now, I'm not going to say that Dana Carvey doing George H.W. Bush was the best one. Wouldn't be prudent. Now I got that. Because both of these men had the benefit of Lorne Michaels and Saturday Night Live. But there was one man who did it before that. And that man was Vaughn Mita. And Vaughn Mita was a comedian from the 60s who impersonated John F. Kennedy. He did many skits with this. But I appear to have gotten off track. And if I were to answer the question of who is the greatest presidential impersonator, I would say that it is me.
I don't know if that really counts, but I will give you extra points for the impressions there. Ben, follow that up.
I can't do as many impressions as those, but my favorite impression that they do on SNL is Larry David's impression of Bernie Sanders. Are you all familiar with that?
Oh, yeah.
He could be Bernie Sanders. He could walk up on stage and talk, and I wouldn't know the difference. He's hilarious. And, my favorite lines from him are, the one pair of underwear that you dry on a radiator. I don't even know what a super pack is. I don't know a backpack. I just carry my stuff around like a professor. And there's always the, how come I always sound like I'm yelling from the other side of a river?
Yeah. All right, Justin. Who do you got?
Okay. Well, I referenced the Saturday Night Live from October 1st when Alec Baldwin was playing Donald Trump and Kate McKinnon was Hillary Clinton. I thought that Kate McKinnon did a pretty good job of Hillary Clinton, coming out all sickly as she was just getting over her pneumonia. She had the mannerisms spot on, and definitely, like how, Hillary kind of has that perfect fake face, sort of, like all the politicians. She did a good job with that, so I'd have to say she's probably.
So moving on, has everyone seen the SNL debate?
Yep.
So I guess we had the impersonation there. So who, we're going to do the next question, who won the real debate, but who won the SNL debate? Who had the better impression there? Alec Baldwin as Donald Trump or Kate McKinnon as Hillary Clinton?
I think Alan Baldwin killed it as Donald Trump. The facial expressions, the lines, they were perfect. I was laughing the entire time. It was so funny. Not that Kate McKinnon wasn't good, but it's almost too easy to impersonate Donald Trump and be hilarious. So I have to give it to Alec Baldwin here.
Yeah, I'm going to sort of counter that, and it's kind of the same point. It is a little too easy to impersonate Donald Trump. I mean, everyone has done it. My friend does a great version of Fallon doing it. And with McKinnon, she's been doing it for a while, and she's not even the only SNL personality who has done it. And she's just really got it down, just every single mannerism, and just making it funny as well as accurate.
I'd have to say it's a little tired watching her at this point because she's done so many, but the Willy Wonka role in the beginning was very funny.
Very good.
Yeah, I would say McKinnon won the best impression from that episode. I can quote a line, actually, I think, when she blurts out Alicia Machado, just to get Lester
Alicia
Holtz.
Machado.
Yeah, just to get Lester Holt's attention, I think is probably.
Thank you for letting that come up organically.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Very nice. Yeah, a lot of great impressions there. Really appreciate yours there, John. I didn't know you were going back to the 60s there.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Very
Well, actually, I can bring it back to the next
All right.
question. Oh,
So here we go. We're going to debate about the debate, guys. So after the first presidential debate and last Monday's vice presidential debate, last Tuesday's vice presidential debate, have you guys' views on the campaign changed at all? Were you guys surprised by anything you saw in either of those debates? They're both kind of fair game. We'll start on who wants to take it first.
Well, I guess I could sort of start. I made an arguably regrettable decision to give myself context to the presidential debate. On the same night, I had watched the 1960 debate and the 1992 debate. That would be the first televised presidential debate between John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon in 1960. And the 92 was George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, and Ross Perot, because I still wanted to believe that a third party could enter the debate, and I wanted to see what that was like. And it was just so much cleaner. Back then, it was like you would sit down at your table in the 60s, and then you would go up when you were asked a question. But I mean, it didn't exactly, fall short of my expectations, because they were kind of low.
Yeah, I would have to say my expectations were very low. So watching it was almost humorous. I don't think anybody necessarily won the debate. I just thought it was a very funny thing to watch. I think, they both kind of lost their cool a little bit towards the middle there.
Wrong.
You don't think so?
No. That was my Donald Trump there.
Wrong.
No, I agree.
Wrong. Yes. Yeah. Donald Trump definitely did lose his school, but I did not. I didn't have any expectations going into it really at all. So going in and watching it, I was actually at a class, and I walked in my room and saw that it was on TV, and I was thinking, oh my God, here we go, And I just watched it because it was so hard to turn off, and it's just, you watch them and it doesn't change anything. They're just both going at each other, and it's almost hard to watch.
Justin?
Yeah, it is hard to watch. I think I wish we had better candidates. Honestly, this run, it's sad. At first Trump was doing well. I thought he was doing really well.
I
at
agree.
First.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, we can do this. And then it's like you're going up the hill and get to the top, and so Clinton obviously won that debate, and but I still don't think I'm going to change my vote based on that debate. So.
What are you guys' thoughts on Lester Holt as the moderator? I know people are kind of critical of him. It didn't seem like he really had control of the candidates at some point. Do you think that he did an admirable job moderating the debate? Or?
How can you take control of these two, right? Especially when you got Donald Trump in the mix, and you got Hillary kind of stabbing back under the table. It's hard to take control of these two candidates, especially in this election. So I think he did as good a job as anybody could do, and I don't blame him for any of the, anything that he let go that probably shouldn't have gone any farther. And I think he did a good job.
I don't think Lester did a good job at all, actually, because the problem with the media today is it's so liberal, and whatever your view is, you want a moderate source, and I just feel like from whether it be NBC, CNN, it's always a loaded question,
right?
No matter what. And,
you're right.
And they're always favoring Hillary, and
right.
making her look good, and it's just
sad. And it seemed like he was attacking Trump far more than Hillary too.
Oh yeah.
Trump would say something and he'd immediately. It's like he had his fact checkers check what Trump was saying, but not Hillary. So it was a lot of.
And
a lot of attacking.
They're in his ear. I mean, they're telling him. It's like.
Right.
Well, it's interesting that you sort of bring up him, where while I do feel like a lot of the questions were sort of pro-Hillary, I would argue that we kind of had the reverse for the vice presidential debate. We had a lot of things that terrorism was I'd say, a lot more stress than it really should have been. I mean, Russia was mentioned for like 30 minutes. What is this, the 1980s? I mean, we maybe had the reverse. So, I mean, while I do feel like Lester Holt didn't do the best job of staying moderate, I mean, it's not like it's just one side or the other.
All right. And we're running out of time, but quickly down the line, who do you guys think won the debate? It's over, Justin.
Oh, unfortunately, Clinton won.
Ben?
Hillary.
John.
Not you.
All righty. Well, we got the pot boiling pretty good now. I think the soup's just about ready. We'll see if we can start eating it next segment.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Welcome back. We're going to quit clowning around and start talking about the real clowns. So as you may be aware, crazy clowns have been taking over the media, and we don't need Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. An autistic couple in Waco, California, photographed a creepy clown in several situations around the city for an art project. These images put the town on the map, making the couple and their clown local celebrities. But dozens of people across the country began taking copycat photos and prank and scare their friends. What began as a seemingly innocent gag, it's since spread worldwide, leading to several assaults from clowns, and several clowns have been arrested across the globe on multiple charges. Petitions have begun to ban clown costumes for Halloween. Is this a violation of civilian rights, or do these precautions need to be taken? We'll start with Justin this time.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that I feel people take things too far. It's like, come on, maybe having a clown walking in a cornfield somewhere is kind of a scary joke, but when you're chasing people and then harassing people, it's too far. And at the same time, I don't think the costume should necessarily be banned for Halloween. I feel like that is just kind of feeding into these people and saying, because they're going to wear the costumes regardless. You know, if they're out there to do a harmful act, they're going to wear the costumes no matter what.
Do you think it'd be easier to identify them if you know that people wearing these costumes are purposely wearing it to harm people?
Well, see, I don't know though, because if someone who's going to wear that costume and, you know, going to go, like, let's say a 12-year-old kid in a clown costume and he's legitimately trick-or-treating, I would say it's pretty easy to find, oh, he's with a group of friends. He's not like a solo 45-year-old man with a real axe walking down the street, you know.
We'll get back on that. We'll let Ben give his first thoughts though.
I think this is one of the strangest and hilarious things that's happened in a long time. Who's sitting around in their house going, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get in a clown costume and chase kids around with chainsaws and stuff, you know? Like, what are they doing? That being said, I don't see how we could outlaw the costume for Halloween where we're just going to start tackling people on the streets in clown costumes. Like, that just seems silly. I don't know how we're going to fix this situation. I don't know. I truly believe it's just a fad, and eventually, you know, in the near future, it's going to go away. But for right now, it's just something that we have to deal with for a little bit, but I'm not too worried about it.
I'm just so upset for the actual clowns who are now forced to live this ironic existence. They became a clown so they could make people happy, and now they just cause fear. And, you know, I don't really, the art was, you know, it's a pretty good picture, and that's, I mean, a really cool idea, but, I mean, I don't really think you should ban, sort of to what he said, you know, banning the costume is just adding more to the fear that these guys are wanting to create with this. And, I mean, if you banned Halloween clown costumes, I mean, DC is going to lose a lot of money from not being able to sell Joker and Harley Quinn costumes, which I think could count as clowns.
Okay. Yeah, but I guess to be devil's advocate to that, you know, it is this one costume, and there are hundreds and hundreds of other costumes going for Halloween. I mean, really for just the safety. I mean, I know we've seen things. I mean, even going back to last year, people wanted to put a ban on Muslims coming into the country due to terrorism, and that's something that people can't really control. You can control putting on a clown costume and what you wear for Halloween. So do you think that it is kind of warranted, especially with, I mean, there's been some pretty vicious acts committed by these people?
Well, if you don't feel safe, just stay home.
And also, if you're basically saying that you can't look like a clown, are we going to have actual clowns get like clown licenses they need to fill out so they can go to their party and do their job? I mean, looking like a clown, even that clown, it shouldn't be anything near like a crime.
And we can't control what they wear for Halloween. You said that maybe we could kind of control what they wear for Halloween. We can't. We can't tell them what to do. We can't tell them what to wear. They're going to do whatever they want. People who want to dress up like clowns to trick or treat, dress up like clowns to trick or treat. It's just, it shouldn't be a problem we should be worried about or have to deal with.
All right. And our final question talks about another guy who's been acting like a clown recently. Third-party candidate Gary Johnson has recently been in the news for being forgetful. During one interview, he was asked about the crisis in Aleppo, to which he responded, "What is Aleppo?" More recently, he was asked about which world leader he supports, to which he could not name a single world leader. He also spoke like this one time, too. Has Gary Johnson ruled any chance of gaining mainstream support? Were these mistakes forgettable, and is he still a third-party viable option? We'll start now with Ben.
Well, let's be in Gary Johnson's shoes for a second. All of a sudden, he's been running for a few years now, and all of a sudden he's in this situation now where he's like, wow, I have a chance. So now people are starting to ask questions, and he's realizing that he doesn't really know the answers to some of these questions, and maybe he should have been a little bit more prepared. But, I don't blame him. He was kind of put in the situation right after the debates about how, let's look at a third party. So they looked at Gary Johnson, and Gary Johnson's like, I don't know. I'm just running because maybe I thought I'd maybe get thrown in, maybe get something else from being in this election. And, I still think he's a viable candidate, at least as viable as Donald or Hillary, let's be honest.
Well, for me, I've been following him for a while, and he still has been, some of the things he said, he was planning on even getting in that debate, and he's still trying to get through. And, well, I'm going to say, as if he's a viable candidate, he is still not Hillary, and he is still not Trump, and that is a very good thing for a lot of people. And I think a lot of people, this is a crazy time. And with the tongue thing, which he sort of focused on, that was in reference to what he could do in the debate. If he said, he asked, what would you do in debate? And it's like, I wouldn't have to do anything to get credit. All I could do was just stand there with my tongue out, which, is he wrong?
Before we get to that, we'll let Justin give his thoughts on that.
Well, see, I think that he kind of tarnished his reputation by not knowing what Aleppo was. And I know, I did some research, and he was on Megyn Kelly the other night, and he said that it was, I'm paraphrasing him, it was more important to know the issue as a whole than the specifics. But the only thing is, I feel like Aleppo is part of the whole issue. It's I guess a specific would be a strategy that they would know. So I would have to say that I think that at least with serious voters, he's not a prospect.
That being said, though, what reputation? You talk about him losing what reputation he had. What was his reputation before? He never really had a reputation.
And you also say serious voters. Okay, so if he's out for not knowing Aleppo, Trump must definitely be out for some of the things he said. And I mean, at that point, would the only serious voters vote for Hillary? I mean, there's got to be some. If Trump can say all this stuff and still be in a debate, why are we making the argument here that his stuff should disqualify him? He's a third-party candidate, and unlike other third parties, it's an actual different idea. It's not. There's no real reason why fiscal conservatism needs to match up with social liberalism. So I mean, he's offering a viewpoint that no one else is really talking about.
That being said, Bernie came out a few weeks ago, I think, and said to people, he said, "This is not the year to be spontaneous and vote third party," because he was really worried about Trump. And he says, if a ton of people now decide to vote third party, then Trump wins, is basically what he was saying, which that might be right.
Johnson has pulled evenly from both Hillary and Trump. I mean, oftentimes you hear it from the other side saying don't vote Libertarian. Oftentimes it is that they're pulling more from Republicans, but it's been about even. And there's also been one of the more popular videos of the election was the Balanced Rebellion video, which gave these facts, and also is a way for people to vote third party without giving an election to a different candidate.
Yeah, but because I do see what you're talking about. If people do vote for him in an overwhelming majority, I still don't even think that he would win.
I mean,
Because
only
I don't think
only
he would.
9% of
The whole
people,
thing is
only
rigged.
9% of the electorate voted for either Trump or Hillary in the primaries. If that's 9%, then if the only 10% of the 91 who didn't voted for Johnson, then that's beating both Trump and Hillary overwhelmingly.
I
There's
don't
so many
think he
people
could
who
win.
haven't voted
I don't
for
think
Trump
so.
I
or
don't think
Hillary.
there's any way he could win. Trump supporters are we all know, a
Yeah,
little crazy,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
don't think I think he has a lot of people on his side that are not going to sway. But I think Hillary voters may sway their opinion based on a third
Well,
party
I mean,
candidate.
it might not be Trump voters, but it's Republican voters, people who maybe would have voted for Bush or Carson or any of those other ones who are now considering Johnson. That's also where he's pulling from.
That's true. We do have to wrap it up, guys. That was a good debate there at the end. Well, now I have to make the enviable decision. I have to declare one of you guys the winner. Pretty close tonight. After a lot of thought and consideration, tonight's winner. I'm gonna have to go with John. Just for the impressions, I think that put it over the top.
I think I'm 2-0 now.
Yeah, let's get him. So,
Congrats, and while you gather your thoughts, let me first remind you that you can catch Commotion and all your other favorite CTV programming on Campus Channel 12. Also be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Cardinal Television Fisher. All right, the floor is all yours.
Well, I guess I'm 2-0 now. This is the second time I was on here. I guess I alluded to Balanced Rebellion earlier. If you are even considering either not voting or not voting for either Trump or Hillary, check out thebalancedrebellion.com. It basically matches up people who, if they could only pick between the two, would vote for Hillary, with people who, if they could only pick between the two, would vote for Trump. And it allows them to both vote for Johnson in the sense of evening it out so that, you're not giving either side an advantage. And it's also a very funny video.